and running your own little servers. And I'm advocating for us, the people, to start building our own decentralized systems that we own and manage because of the way that the world is going. But hey, think about it. If you run your own server, that's a good thing. You own your data, and you can get together and work with other people to start building our own decentralized internet that we, the working class, own, not big tech. Hello everyone, this is Shauna with Disruptapps LLC again, and today I want to do a video about how to get a cheap PC. As you can see here, I've got a old ancient dinosaur Dell Optiplex. What is it, a 960? Yep. I bought this probably like 10 years ago, and I want to go step by step of how you can pick one of these up really cheaply, maybe like 20 to 40 bucks. And just with some old parts you might have lying around, like I do. I've got some RAM here and an old SSD, and here's the cover and a power cable. But what I want to do is I want to inspire people to go get these old things, save them from the e-waste pile, and start putting things like Linux on them and running your own little servers. And I'm advocating for us, the people, to start building our own decentralized systems that we own and manage because of the way that the world is going. So I'm going to do this video, show you step by step of how to make a bootable flash drive, and in this case I'm going to put Linux Mint on it, but you could do something else. And yeah, and like here I've just got some things like a screwdriver, the USB drive, the SSD, the RAM, and basically I'll have to remove the CD drive here so I can get and put the RAM in there. And yeah. And see, before you do this, one thing you need to do when you have old hardware is you always need to check the CMOS battery and make sure that it is good. Now this thing should be right around 3 volts, and you need to make sure you have a new battery in there, because when they drop down to like 2.7, they're no good. And especially if they're in the 1.5, they're not going to hold your system memory when you power off your machine, and that's going to cause lots of headaches and configuration problems and things like that. So first thing I want to do is I want to take out that CMOS battery to see if it's good. And I just have a tiny flathead screwdriver, and hopefully it'll be easy to pop out. And yep, it just popped out pretty nicely. And it's one of those little button batteries, and I think it's a CR2032. So let's give it a check. So right here I've got my handy dandy voltmeter, and I won't go into how to use a voltmeter in this video, but since this computer is run on direct current or DC current, current and voltage, you need to use the correct settings. And here on this rotation knob you need to go here, because on this right here really quick, this is direct current, and over here is alternating current up here. But so we need to use direct current, and since these batteries are at 3 volts, we either need to use 1.5 or 9 volts. And first we'll start off with 9 volts, and I want to go ahead and show you how to check it. And it's really simple. You just basically take these leads from the voltmeter, and hopefully I can get this to show the voltage. So basically what you do is you take one side, hold it here, and the other side here, and look at that. We have a dead battery. So, and let me show you here. I've got this brand new 2032, and let me go ahead and see if I can get this out of the package really quick. And they make these things childproof, so people like me shouldn't play with them. So let's test this brand new battery, shall we? Right out of the package. We'll put the electrode here, and then here. And look at that. On the voltmeter, we're running at 3.16. Now let's do something really cool. Let's flip it around backwards. You get negative 3.1412, whatever. And that's going to be another another video. But always put a new, always test your CMOS, because this will be a headache. This will be a headache if you're not careful. And basically, to put it back in, it's really simple. Just pop it in there, and there you go. That's how you replace the CMOS. Now, I want to pull out the CD drive, and if you're not familiar with these Optiplexes, you're going to be like, how do I pull this thing out? I don't see no screws or whatever. So it's really simple. You just have this little button here, and that will loosen up the holder. You can just basically pop that out of the way and swing it out of the way. And if you want to, you can undo the power and data cables, but in this case I should be able to work around it, and I'll be able to insert my RAM. Now, I'm just going to install some RAM here, and I'm going to leave the cover off because I will need to test to make sure the RAM actually works. Alright, so after digging through my bag of RAM, I found some 4 gig sticks, and I have 4 of them right here, and I'm going to see if with the Linux Mint in this old machine, if it's going to work with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and that would be pretty cool. But we'll see. These old things can be temperamental. Always, when you're installing RAM, make sure you have the key, the little hole here, the notch, lined up with your memory slot. There you go. That's basically installing the RAM. And then let's go ahead and put this back in. So yeah, and then I've got the little SSD. I don't know what's on it. I think I might have Windows 7 or something, but it'll go bye-bye. And we're just going to leave it. We'll leave the case open to make sure that it works, and just hook up the power and data cables here. So there you go. That's the start. I'm going to go to my computer, and I'm going to go through how to do the download a Linux Mint, and how to do Rufus, and do a USB bootable drive. Okay, I'm at my laptop here, and I want to go to linuxmint.com, and at the loading screen, or the home page, you've got your download, and then we'll also be using Rufus, and up here is the https rufus.ie English. So I'll put the links in the description. So first, let's go ahead and download Linux Mint. And again, you can use any Linux version you would like to, but just for simplicity's sake, let's do Linux Mint. And we're going to go ahead and just go with the Cinnamon edition. So go here and click download, and it's going to be size 3 gigabytes. So you're going to need a USB drive, at least probably 4, I would say 4 gigs or larger, definitely. So always have extra space. So I'm just going to go down here to the mirrors, and I'm going to click the first one, and up here it's going to download the 64-bit version. So we'll go ahead and wait for that to happen. And then meanwhile, I want to go ahead to get the Rufus, which will this is the software to make a bootable USB for Mint and other softwares or other OSs out there. So just go ahead and click the Rufus 4.9.exe, and my computer's, as you can see, it's Windows. So we'll just go ahead and download that, and let's see. Rufus is done downloading, and Mint is done downloading. So you see here on my desktop over here, I've got the Mint ISO and then the Rufus. So now I'm going to insert the USB to create a bootable drive. And as you can see here on this bootable drive, I already have Mint 21. I did that for another computer. So let's go ahead and format this drive, and I'm just going to go with the defaults here, and I want to format it. I'm just going to do a quick format. Warning, formatting, it will erase all data, and that is fine because I want this to be a clean clean USB. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click out of that, take the USB out. I don't think you have to do this, but I'm going to put it back in. And we have, this is the, I believe this is just the, yeah, I didn't delete it. So go ahead and delete these things. Go ahead and click delete that. And yeah, I believe that why it's named like that is because you can name it when you create the drive. So I will show you that here in a minute. Go ahead and minimize that. So go ahead and open Rufus. And bear with me, it's been a while since I've done this. Let's see, boot selection. I want to do disk or ISO image. I want to select that. And it's on my desktop. So you want to select the ISO over here that you downloaded from the Mint page. So go ahead and click that, hit open. And then let's look through here. I don't really change these things very much. And then see, you can do your volume label. So here I'm just going to update this to, what was this thing here? 22.1. All right, I'll just leave it as that. I think it may have updated that automatically. And I'm just going to leave it over here. Actually, Rufus, oh, I forgot about this, actually does a quick format for you. So they made it really easy. Rufus made it really easy for you to create a bootable ISO. So let's go ahead and hit the start. This means it can be written. Okay, I'm just going to go with the default here. And it's going to go hit with yes. And then warning, all data on device, multiple partitions, yada yada, will be destroyed. Yes. So let's go ahead, and it's doing its thing. Okay, so it looks like it's done. So here we go. Looking at this, we've got everything on here to install Linux Mint on a machine. So come over here and right click, and it's always good practice to eject the USB. Some people just yank it out, but I have learned my lesson about not ejecting these things because sometimes things go awry. So just hit eject, and there we go. Close out Rufus, and there we go. We'll go ahead and take that over there to the machine. Alright, so moving along here, one of the drawbacks to these old Dell Optiplexes and stuff from that era and older hardware is you're not going to have HDMI on these things. Sometimes you'll get the display port, or you'll get a VGI port on these things. So yeah, but there is always a workaround. And that workaround is, like in this machine that I have here, I have an EVGA GeForce GT 730 that I have laying around. And what you can do is you can buy one of these cheap cards or off the internet, or if you have one laying around, the small form factor. You know, you'll have to probably take your graphics card apart and put the small bracket on it. But then here, ta-da, you have the HDMI port along with the, I think that's a DVI port. My cobwebs in my brain, but you're going to run into this solution with these old Dell Optiplexes. And on this machine I had running, I forgot what I have on it, but they work. They do work. I can attest to that. So moving right along, I will put this thing on the stand and see about getting Mint installed on this old jalopy. Alright, so here is the bootable USB, and it's always good practice with these old machines to put the bootable drive in the back, on the back I/O, because sometimes you might have an issue with the front I/O, the USBs up there if they have them. So it's good practice to put them back in here. So let's see here. Always gotta rotate it. Put it in there. I've got my cable, VGI cable in there. Let's go ahead and get my keyboard and mouse hooked up. So there we go. Alright, so everything's together. Let's see if we can get this thing to boot. I push the power on, and we've had some fan turning. Hey, look at that. We have something going on here. Well, that's good. I know that it works. I know the computer is working. So let's see what's on here. Yep, operating system wasn't found. Try disconnecting any drives. Yada yada yada. Control Alt Delete to restart. So let's go ahead and see about getting into the BIOS. I forgot what the F2. Is it F2? Nope. Okay, it's not F2. Okay, it is F2. Yeah. All right, so we got to go through here through this BIOS menu, and it's been a while since I've done this. I'm going to go to boot sequence. So mouse isn't working, so let's give it a different USB port. All right, so I'm having some issues, which is going to happen with mice sometimes. All right, and my mouse is not working. But that's very strange because it's a cable mouse and an old school mouse, so hopefully my USB mouse will work. And it's always good to do these with USB mice. I mean, it's always good to do with wired mice because sometimes, okay, good, we got lucky. So here we go. I'm going to click that boot sequence to do a USB device. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply and exit, and let's see what happens. Let's see if it'll recognize the USB drive. Okay, that's a good sign. All right, so here we go. We are now over here. We've got the USB for that's got the Mint ISO, the Mint installer on it. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and back out a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and center the camera here. So let's go ahead and install Mint on this old ancient system here. So it's an old computer. It's going to take a while to do its thing, but hey, we've got a cursor there, which is good. That's a good sign. Oh, how about that? And we have Mint. We've got the Mint install screen, so I will go up in here, do a quick install video too. Hey, why not? We're here. Why not? And again, you've had to be patient with these older machines, but you know, if you're in a pinch or you want to have like a machine in your shop, or if you want to have an expendable machine in an environment that is kind of hot or dirty, this is always a good option. So English, continue. You just got to be patient with it. Go ahead and hit continue. And generally when I do my Linux Mint install, I just do all the defaults and let it go through. I do not want to do codecs. I'm not connected to the internet. I think it has to. I'm not sure if it's part of the package or not, but yeah. Just go ahead and install now. If you change, okay, let's go ahead and continue. Continue. Time zone. And it's going to do its thing. I'll let the video run. I'm just poking around here. Hardware. Where is it? And system info. Let's see. Linux kernel, memory 7.6 gigabytes, hard drive is like 198 gigabytes. So there might be a memory limitation, but we'll have to check into that. Okay, so that took about almost 16 minutes to do the install. So again, these are all computers. They're a little slow, but you know, if you have the patience, it's worth it. So let's go ahead and restart it now. And I'm going to go ahead, and while we're doing it, I want to boot into my, or the BIOS, because I want to see, oh yeah, got to remove the install medium and hit enter, which I just did. And at least it loaded and installed, but I want to see why I'm not seeing my full 16 gigabytes of RAM. It might be a configuration. I might have to do a diagnostic. Okay, so DDR2 2468. Okay. Yep, it's not recognizing the full memory. So, I mean, it is seeing the sticks, but they're only registering as 2 gigabytes each, and those sticks are at 4. So, without going into too big a detail, I'm going to have to do some technical reading and look into if it's a limitation with the hardware or something with Linux. I'll have to look into that. But so this is a post-production injection here, and I wanted to go over the memory issue I was having, that it wasn't recognizing all 4 sticks at the total of 16 gigabytes of RAM, and doing a quick Google search. Yeah, this AI crap says it basically won't read 16 gigabytes of RAM because of basically it's an older computer. So, and then come down here to Mr. Memory. I'm not associated with them, but you know, this small form factor has 4 memory slots and 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you got to remember, this computer is like 12 or 14 years old or something like that. So back then we had like what, XP and Windows 7 or something like that. So this was the norm back then. But anyhow, I just wanted to give that update, and it's probably going to be a limitation of the old hardware. And maybe there's some crazy BIOS hack out there that you can download off of some Russian website, but hey, we're not going to go there. It is showing. But yeah. And here you're looking at the system specs. You know, it's an old system. It's got a 3 gigahertz processor. It's a Core 2 Duo, so it's really old, but you know, hey, you know, the machine's like 10 or 15 years old, so it's give it credit for that, for being around so long. Let's go ahead and exit this and boot into Linux. And there we go. We are booted into Linux. So yeah, this is how you install a Linux Mint on an ancient relic dinosaur Optiplex, Dell Optiplex 960 or 980. And it's not going to be the fastest ship in the galaxy, to reference a popular series, but it'll get the job done. And again, if you want to go on the cheap, if you want to run a really kind of slow server, but hey, think about it. If you run your own server, that's a good thing. You own your data, and you can get together and work with other people to start building our own decentralized internet that we, the working class, own, not big tech. You just got to be temperamental with these old machines. I really hope this video brings you some value and actually inspires you to learn about computers and decentralization and resurrecting old computers, saving them from the e-waste heap. May your journey to software and hardware and all that good stuff be a good one. See ya.